Well, again, gang, I just want to go over some course expectations with you. Um, Everything you ever will need to know about world history will be found on our Schoology website. And you will be doing an orientation with Schoology um, in this introduction activity. But for now, I just want to go over the syllabus itself and course expectations. When you're in Schoology, you can find this information in the course intro materials folder. So you will just go in on your landing page into course intro materials and find everything that you need, including a supply list, course outlines, which also is your syllabus, assessment criteria, how you will get grades in this class, and rubric descriptors. So you will find all of those in the course intro materials. You must go through and read all of those things. I am going to go over the syllabus with you and the supply list really quickly, and the assessment criteria, but everything else you need to kind of go through on your own. Stuff we use every unit is a folder, just like it says. It's usually stuff we use every unit. One pagers, notebook guidelines, Cornell note forms, SOAPs, document analysis will all be found there. And then inside each folder beyond that is each unit, and within each unit will be weekly modules, which will be the work that you will be doing each week within that unit. So let's go over the syllabus. In world history, we have several units. Make this a little bigger for you. Up at the top of the syllabus, you'll find my email, mwolfram@blaineschools.org, and my extension is 2204, and it's 578-5020 is the high school number. This is a survey of world history. Hold on to your hats. We're going to cover about 10,000 years of world history in about 9 months. Whew, that's really fast. And in that process, we cover world history thematically. So we start with historical thinking, that's unit 1, examining what is history, what should history say about people, events, characters, and that's come up a lot in our current culture as we are talking about taking down things like monuments to Civil War generals, etc. So we're going to be focusing on historical narratives in our textbooks and also learning how to do primary document analysis. Our second unit is getting back to the dawn of man. Unit 2 is all about civilizations and early man. And we're going to talk about how did we get here anyway? How did we get to this place as a human civilization where 7 billion people plus populate the planet? We're going to look at landscape, topography, environments, biomes, migration, etc. All of those things that led to human civilization. Our third unit is called Enlightenment, exploring religion and science and world religions, and how did we get to some answers of some of the world's most unanswerable questions, those things that humans have been thinking about for eons, and the creative ways that they have come up with answers, often in the form of religion. Then we'll move into governments. How is power gained, used, and justified? And we'll look specifically at Greece and Rome as models for modern governments, but we're also going to be maybe looking at some monarchs in there, like Louis the 16th, and the rise of dictators. Our fifth unit is called Connections and Collisions. This is how and why do humans connect and collide and go to war or come together and unify. We're going to be looking at specifically migration patterns and what that can cause. We're seeing the effects of that right now in this global pandemic. The sixth unit is about revolution and when are changes in society revolutionary. We're going to define that word revolution, and we're going to look at that and look at events and see if they match our class definition of revolution. And lastly, we'll look at oppression and how oppression shapes identity, and examine human rights and how the idea of human rights evolved over time and what it means for us today. We are going to be looking at the Holocaust as a case study, as well as the Armenian genocide during that time as well. We do have a textbook, but I honestly don't use it very often. Most of our work comes from short readings or essays by prominent historians, but also I will be including primary source documents. All students are required to maintain an interactive notebook, and this year it looks like we're going to do that digitally, just because we might be having to pivot to do everything online. If you would like to do it as a hard copy, you can purchase a composition notebook to do that. So these are our objectives: appreciate human and environmental commonalities, understand how human and environmental systems operate and evolve. We're going to look at interactions and interdependence between societies and individuals and the environment. We're going to learn to act as responsible citizens, and we're going to work on our inquiry skills and our historical thinking skills. I try to do a lot of hands-on stuff. We'll have to see how it goes, given sort of the unprecedented time we are in. But I do try to keep it creative and interesting for you. But really, you get in what you get out, you put out, or you get out. Let me rephrase that. You get out what you put in. So the more you engage in this class, both face to face and when we're online, the more you're going to get out of it. So you need to really take ownership of your own learning. Adding to that, these are our assessment criteria. All assignments will be assessed using one of the following criteria, sometimes maybe two. I would never do more than two. You're going to be assessed on knowing and understanding. This is you developing your factual and conceptual knowledge about individuals and societies. These are your vocabulary words. This is knowing your events. These are knowing your concepts. Those are your facts. You're going to be assessed on your investigating skills. You're going to develop systematic research skills. So we do research in this class. And as a result, you will learn how to do things like create annotated bibliographies and works cited, and do the work of historians, which is research. Communicating, you're going to practice writing like historians using accurate academic language, and you're going to have to pay attention to the task at hand. If I ask you to create a Facebook profile for George Washington, you can think about your audience, and you need to communicate effectively with that mode and genre and time period in mind. If I'm asking you to write an essay, you're going to write in complete sentences using correct grammar, capitalization, and punctuation. Thinking critically is our last grading criteria, and you are to practice these historical thinking skills, which go hand in hand with your investigating, but it's primarily analyzing sources, and I'm going to teach you how to do that through sourcing and corroboration. And it's also being able to make an argument. History is an argument. It is an interpretation of the facts to create a narrative about what happened in history. So you're going to start practicing making those arguments by making a claim, backing it up with evidence, and explaining your reasoning why that evidence supports your claim. So I will be teaching and assessing your thinking critically skills. So that means as we move forward, you're going to have lots and lots and lots of practice, and formative assessments will act as diagnostic tools for me to give you feedback and to help inform my instruction. And so every time you practice a skill, it'll be worth slightly more than the last time you practiced a skill. You can redo works to improve your score, but that requires that you absolutely take my comments and view the feedback and participate in that feedback cycle. And we're going to go over that more later. Summative assessments are at the end of units. They are culminating projects. They also will be final exams and are final evaluations of the learning accomplished during the unit. So formative assessment is for learning, like you're actually learning from the process of those little assessments. You get some information, you get some feedback, you make a course correction, and then you do it again. That's formative assessment. Summative assessment is more high stakes. It's like, okay, I did all this, now where am I? So I calculate grades using what we call a decaying average. And like I said, in each assessment category, each new assignment is weighted more than the previous assignment in that category, which means ultimately the first time you practice it, it really isn't worth as much as the last time you practice it. Um, so this is different than a straight average where your first assignment and your last assignment are equally weighted. So theoretically, over time, you should see growth in your learning. That being said, sometimes students don't see that growth immediately, and that can be a little frustrating. Stick with me because I will stick with you and we will get you on the path where you need to go. Here's another way to visualize this. We use these using proficiency scales. So you can see sort of what those proficiencies equate to. And these are more detailed versions of the criteria. Absences are detrimental to your class. You need to be here physically to learn, also digitally to learn. I would like you all to be actively participating in this course. I do know that sometimes we get sick or things come up. It is your responsibility to get information you missed during an absence. And the best place to do that is on your Schoology calendar. So you'll have a Schoology calendar right here. And if I go back to March 2020, nope, I have to go all the way back to October because you'll see every day is loaded and it's archived. So if I missed Friday, September 27th, I can click on that and find exactly what I missed that day. Or on the 26th, I can even see my bell ringers and learning targets, the reading I needed to do, and the graphic organizer I needed to complete. So your job is to stay up on your work. I will accept late work. It's meant to prepare you for the summative, so I want you to practice those things. You will not get an opportunity to redo a summative if you have not done the formative work, though. So please do all of those pieces because the formatives help you practice. This year, there will not be any extra credit, so you can just disregard that. It's going to get deleted. And again, everything is in Schoology. All right, so course intro, those are the expectations. You can find those again in the course intro materials. Other supplies that you will need if we are in physical classrooms are glue sticks, pens, pencils, highlighters, colored pencils, erasers, sticky notes, and maybe a little pencil sharpener because mine really stinks. So we're going to try to eliminate sharing resources this year, so please bring your own. If you have any questions about that, please let me know, and I look forward to starting class. Bye.